Alrighty. We'll be cutting
so
this.
This is what we're doing. Now we got this taped off. We're going to cut this open. I'm going to cut this floor out, the whole tunnel, the whole thing out. Once that's cut out, we'll raise it up. I mean, we'll get it out of the way. Put the tranny in, make sure the tranny fits where we need it to go. Because right now the tranny's hitting this right here. So
we want to be able to see if we could put our X in.
yeah.
That way, while the floor's still able to go up and down.
All right. Let's go. Cut this little thing off. Cut this one off on this side. Got this taped off where we're going to put it. Follow that line all the way up.
there it is.
There it be. I'm probably not going to even use this. I'll probably make up a whole new piece.
Yeah. It don't matter. I mean, it's not horrible.
There she be. All right. You got that cut out of it and that cut out of it. And now I'm going to put the tranny back up in here. See how high it really needs to go. And then see what we could do with this trans mount and trans X bars. All right, so Daryl's back there welding back there. We got the tranny back up in place. I got these rods in here to make sure it's lined up correctly. All right, they're nice. Nothing binds. I got a couple of bolts in it. I got it flush against the mid plate, and now you can see how high it really needed to be. Like 2.5 inches. Like it wouldn't fit if you wanted it to in there. That's why they had that other piece of aluminum in there. So just make one. Probably end up just making one from scratch. Making a piece up onto there first, and then the rest of it here. Just gotta make sure the dry shaft is gonna fit in here now. Also, it's crazy how high up that thing sits. All right, we'll check it. That's why the floor was all cut up.
All right, we got him welding with a mirror now.
Yeah.
Backwards. Because in here, you gotta get underneath the bottom there, on the back side of them. So.
All right, back over here for a minute. So that's the tranny in, that's the dry shaft in hanging. And when the dry shaft comes up, now I gotta cut this almost to here, and then lift this side up. You can see that everything's like offset to the floor. This is centered. The floor tunnel is offset by 1.5 inches this way. So I gotta trim this back, cut this off like I did the other one, come all the way back here, come up and around, and then just lift that side up. Hopefully that's all I gotta do with that. Or just cut the whole freaking thing off and make a whole new one.
Probably do that better. Okay.
Got one side.
Cool. Go the other way with it. Annalisa goes, "What do you need my mirror for?" I said, "Don't worry, we're gonna use it to weld." Yeah.
Alright, so we're trimming it back. If we're gonna make a tunnel or whatever, a cover, we're gonna make it big enough to accommodate everything. So we're gonna make sure we got enough room here so you can lift the tranny up and in. And then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna see how far. I'm gonna try this first. See if I got enough. We've just taken it off to there. If not, we're gonna go back to here. It looked like I had to go back to about here from underneath, because the floor tunnel, believe it or not, is not centered in the car. The dry shaft is centered in the car. So the tranny and the dry shaft is centered. So I guess the rear, the pinion is centered rather than the housing being centered. All Alright, so I'm going to keep trimming it back till it fits. I'm going to trim this back a little bit more here. Make sure we got all access to the whole, to everything, because this is just going to come up and over now. So you'll have plenty of room for a cover there. Plenty of room to get your bolts out. This is going to get trimmed back, this piece right here. That's what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to cut that piece off right there. And then we're going to cut this back right here. Come this way. You can see the dry shaft is hanging down to the rear now, but when the car's sitting at ride height, this is going to come way up here. So we're going to move all that, cut that up like that, and then the floor sits just like that. So that here you got plenty of room. Here it starts getting a little tight because of the dry shaft. Alright, so I'm going to keep trimming that back until it fits. He's still back there welding those bars. And we're moving right along. Little glitch in the road here with this, but whatever. Gotta fix it now. Alright, so I got this all trimmed back. Now, depends on how high this actually sits. We're going to actually put the motor in. I'm going to put the engine in place and bolt it in so we know for sure. If it sits like this high, then we have room enough to put an X bar in here. Definitely enough room for a cross member, all that. That's right now with the rear hanging down. But we got a clearance issue here when the rear is up. So I think what I'm going to end up doing here is probably just heat this section up and then just pull this out. I just need like another 1/4 inch or so, 1/2 inch, whatever, and that'll be fine. Instead of cutting it even further back, I don't want to cut it. I don't want to keep cutting further back. I might as well just cut the whole floor out, which sucks. But everything else, clearance-wise, fits. So right now he went to get the hoist out of the other room. We're gonna put the engine in place, bolt it in so we know exactly where that's going to go. I'm going to make the cross member. Once the cross member's made, then we know, okay, that's where it's going. There's no question about it. And then we can see about this X bar or not. Again, with what he's got going on, floor, rocker bars, original rockers, dash bar, original door pillars, you don't even need the X. And then we can always put it in later anyway if we really want to, once we back half it. Because when we back half it, all this part of the floor is going to be gone. That's why I don't want to cut it up now, because, you know, then I got to make sheet metal. So we're going to leave as much of that in as we can at this point, because the car is still going to sit, you know, where it's at high level. The ride height is still going to be where it was before. We're not changing anything like that. But once we put the 4-link in it, then we're going to drop it, slam it on the ground. So once we slam it on the ground, that back of that piece will be gone. This floor here will be gone. And then from that point, I mean, the car, everything will be above the floor line. All right, so he's going to get the engine hoist. I'm going to stick this motor in real quick.
All right, so we got the motor in here. We're going to set it in place so we can mock everything up, because
We gotta mock it up. We mocked up the tranny,
but we want to make sure it sits where it's going to sit for sure.
so we had to take the bolts back out, line everything back up,
Put all our bolts in so the thing don't come falling off or nothing.
so we know it's in the right spot more than anything. Yeah, it looks like that. We have to go like that. So take these bolts out.
So we're going to get everything tightened up and then we'll set this motor in here.
All right, so that's what we got trimmed back so far. So now, again, thinking ahead a little bit. Rather than making it to here, right? That whole section is going to be end up getting cut out later. So I'm going to probably make the tunnel up to that point up here like that, so that it'll kind of end up where the back half is going to be. So I'm going to take a quick measurement to there, and see how far up the axle center line to where the floor would end when it's back halved. And then I'm going to head over to Dutra and get a piece of sheet metal made up, have them help me make a tunnel. They could do that there on a roller, and we'll make it high enough and wide enough to be good forever. All right, let me check this real quick. So now we got this being made up here. Guys at Dutra are taking care of us here again. Like I said, if you need any kind of sheet metal work done, Dutra sheet metal, Vineland. So we're trying to make the tunnel for the floor at this point. And then we're going to make the rest of it tomorrow. Once I get this kind of in place, I can take some measurements and see where else I got to be. Now we're fine-tuning it. Then what we're going to do is we'll actually end up mounting the dry shaft loop right to this and welding it right to it. So it'll be like containment also. All right. Pro stock tunnel. Yeah. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trim it all back. We're going to make it come all the way to here like this. So this will end up coming here. And then we'll just cap this off. And then the rest will be the floor. And then we'll just cut that all off. That's all going to get cut out later anyway. That's all getting cut out later. That ain't even going to be there. So we're going to trim that back to fit the floor real nice. Right? I'll weld all that in there. And then we'll trim off all the excess on the inside so nothing's hanging out of it. It'll look nice and clean. It'll be like a factory install. And then over here what we'll do is we'll cut this back to where we want it, and then I continue this up to the firewall. So let me we're gonna get this one trimmed back to where we want it, and then I'll take some more measurements from here to there, go back over to Dutra and have them help me make that part and see how that looks. So it's gonna come out nice. All right, now you'll have plenty of room, you'll have plenty of clearance, no dry shaft issues, no nothing. Whether the car sits, you could put this car probably 2 or 3 inches off the ground and still have enough dry shaft clearance. And if you run radials or anything like that, obviously it's going the other way, so it ain't gonna be a problem. All right, so we're looking good. I think this is gonna work out real nice. Okay, so we'll get to trimming.